removed the earphone, the word started coming. Okay, fine. So what we're going to do is, we're going to start with a quick recap of whatever we have done in the last class. Now, in class, I remember giving you just a brief intro about the subject, and I told you about the kinds of crime that we have. So what are the two major kinds of crimes that we have? Please, somebody tell me, write in the chat box. Two broad categories of crime. Yes, very good. Vaishali Yadav and, okay, they've written. We have conventional crime and we have non-conventional crime. Now, what are these conventional crimes? Conventional crimes are the crimes which are, which we generally regard as crime. For example, when we talk about theft, when we talk about murder, we talk about grievous hurt. Now, these are the kind of conventional crime where you're basically causing damage to somebody's body or somebody's property, and that is more or less of a one-on-one interaction where one person is causing damage to others, right? However, when we talk about non-conventional crimes are those which are on a larger scale, where only one person is affected, the entire society at large or the entire economy of the country at large is affected by it. Now, another distinction, okay, can't you hear me? Because it's... All of you can't hear me or only Fateh can't hear?
No, we can hear you.
Ma'am, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Fateh Kumar, please adjust your placing. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So what I was saying is that we talk about non-conventional crime, it would include the kind of crimes where the damage is not caused to one particular individual as such or a group of individuals, but it affects the economy or the society at large. So it affects the society's health or society's moral values, or it affects the economy of a country or a state, right? Now, we have also done what are the kind of crimes that come in non-conventional crime. When we talk about the kind of crimes that are covered, we talked about socio-economic offenses, then we talked about white-collar crimes, then we also talked about organized crime. Now, I have explained you the difference between white-collar crimes and socio-economic crimes. Now, please tell me which one is broader. Socio-economic offenses is broader or white-collar crimes is broader?
Socio-economic offenses.
Yes, socio-economic is broader. Right? You remember telling me that every white-collar crime is a socio-economic offense, but vice versa is not true. Which means what? Every white-collar crime is a socio-economic offense, but every socio-economic offense is not a white-collar crime. Now, white-collar crime basically refers, if you talk about a distinction between the two, white-collar crime would be something which is committed by professional, by the rich class, and it involves a huge amount of money, right? And socio-economic offense can be something which is a simple tax evasion of even 2,000 rupees would come as socio-economic offense. Because you are, in whatever small way, contributing to the economic downfall of the country, right? Because you're evading tax, you're not giving tax. So these were the broad categories that we have done. Then we talked about the examples of socio-economic offenses or white-collar crime. And then we talked about tax evasion, we talked about corruption. And I've also told you when we talk about these socio-economic offenses, we have specific laws that are dealing with it. So for corruption, we have Anti-Corruption Act. For adulteration in food and drugs, we have a separate act. For trafficking of humans, we have a separate act. So all these kind of offenses that are there, we have separate acts which deals with them, and they prescribe later on in the class as we move forward in this course. I'm going to talk about 47th Law Commission report, and there were a lot of boards and commissions that were there which basically talked about what kind of trial should be done for if somebody is committing socio-economic offense, or what kind of punishment should be given, because we have different theories of punishment. Should it be should there be a minimum punishment, or should there be no minimum punishment, or what is the range of fine that should be there? All this we'll talk about in detail when we talk about the 47th Law Commission report. Now it specifically deals in these issues only, right? Now moving forward in what I've done, okay. Then I gave it examples. Exactly, I've already given black marketing, hoarding, adulterating, food and drugs. Then we have trafficking. So all these kind of things are covered in the socioeconomic offences. Then I was talking about when we talk about crimes or socioeconomic offences. Is there a requirement of mens rea? See, when I say is there a requirement of mens rea, I'm not saying it cannot have a mens rea. Because I remember somebody asking me a question that if someone is specifically targeted the stock market and they want the share market to collapse, and that's why they're doing something, an act of terrorism, would it amount to mens rea? Yes, it would, but what I want to say by that is that when we talk about mens rea, it means that for proving the guilt of the person, there is no requirement of proving mens rea as such. I'm sure in IPC you have done the concept of strict liability. Now somebody would like to tell me what is strict liability. You have done the concept of strict liability in torts also. You've done that in IPC also. I just wanted to elaborate on. You can speak out. Just tell me the concept of strict liability. What do you mean by strict liability? Class?
The owner will be liable of all the wrongs which will happen.
Okay, the person will be liable for all the wrongs. Fine. And what else?
Where mens rea is not required to prove.
Where we are not required to prove the mens rea. Okay? Anyone else would like to elaborate or give examples? There are so many examples. Just refresh your memory. Just get it. Excuse me?
Ma'am, owner would be liable if something is happening in his ambit. Wrong happening.
Would be liable if something is happening in his ambit. Fine, but that comes under when we talk about a normal crime. Also, the person would be liable for whatever he is doing. So, what is the specific thing that is there in strict liability? Anyone?
Mens rea need not to be proven, but intention has to be proven.
Okay. Intention has to be proved.
Intention, all knowledge of that thing has to be proven.
You remember the case of Revan versus Fletcher? Talks. I think that's the case. I'm remembering the name correctly.
Yes.
Somebody please tell me. I think that is the case which talks about strict liability, absolute liability and all that.
Was it about a mine? I mean, a reservoir being built up and then the reservoir just collapsed. It affected the
Yes.
whole mine ground.
So what consent did that case give?
So basically, in that case, what happened was the fault was attributed to this particular person who built the reservoir, even without how do I explain it? Even without being particularly responsible for the fault, he was attributed the liability.
Exactly. So what basically what I was trying to point out to was that a person built a reservoir, he was held liable. He had no intention whatsoever that the water should go out of that reservoir. He had no intention that damage should be caused because of the leakage of water that happened. Right? We cannot attribute any kind of mens rea to him. We cannot attribute any kind of intention to him. But the fact that damage has been caused because of his act, he was held to be liable. That is when the concept of strict liability was given. So similarly, if you remember the case, IPC case, I don't remember the name of the case, where a person boarded a aeroplane with a gold and he was not aware about the laws that govern. Anyone remembers the name of the case?
M.H. George, State of Maharashtra.
Exactly, M.H. George, Maharashtra, yes. So in that case also, there was a concept of strict liability. So what strict liability basically means is that even if you do not have intention, even if you do not have mens rea, the very fact that your act has the damage, the very fact that it is because of your act that any kind of wrong has been done or damage has been suffered, this fact by itself makes you liable. For example, if I talk about the Food Adulteration Act, now in that case, Food and Drugs Adulteration Act that we have, if a person is mixing, let's say, I'm taking a very, very hypothetical example, which does not justify to the common sense, but still, just for explanation's sake, if I take it, there is a person, he is into the business of packaging milk. He collects milk, he packages milk, then he supplies it, right? Now, what this person is doing is he is mixing urea in milk, right? Now, this person is, these packets are caught, they're tested, and they're found to be adulterated. When the matter goes to the court, this person says, look, I had no idea whatsoever that mixing urea is going to spoil the milk and it is dangerous. I had no knowledge about the properties of urea. I thought it would help in preserving the milk for a longer time. And that's the reason for longer duration. So, so that is the reason that I have mixed urea. Can the justification work? Even if it is correct, even if he says that, yes, ignorance is no excuse, yes. But then, yes, but that's what I'm saying, that can this excuse work that I had no knowledge whatsoever the material or the substance that I'm mixing in milk is harmful or is not allowed or is dangerous to the health? Can he take defense? No, he cannot. Right? Tell me. Can he take the defense? Can he not take the defense? Ajay? Yes, Vishwa. He cannot take any defense, and that is the concept of absolute liability. That is the fact that you have done the offense makes you absolutely liable, irrespective of the fact whether you had intention to cause that kind of damage, whether you had mens rea, whether you wanted to cause the damage or not. Right? See, in last class also I reiterated the difference between intention and motive. Whenever any such act, motive is definitely there. And what is the motive? Motive is to earn maximum profits. Motive is profiteering. Motive is extracting maximum money that they can, right? So motive is definitely there, but that does not mean that mens rea is there. Even if mens rea is there or not, we are not bothered about it. When it comes to punishment, we are punishing the person because of the fact that he's done. So that is the concept of strict liability. And when we talk about socioeconomic offense, liability concept applies to socioeconomic offense and also white-collar crimes, right? Okay. Now, moving forward. Okay, I was talking to you about motive. In socioeconomic offense, motive is excessive greed, desire for wealth and all that. Then, I talked about emotions. I'm just going to recap and then move forward. Fine? Right. Now, when we talk about emotions, just a moment, class. Just one moment. All right. It started raining. Okay, now when we talk about emotion, I've told you that in WCC there's no emotions involved in the sense, normally when we talk about murder, when we talk about rape, when we talk about hurt, there are some kind of emotion, anger or hatred or love or passion, something is involved in committing crime. When we talk about socioeconomic offenses, there is no emotions involved as such, there is no emotional connect between the two. Okay. Now, then we have, just a moment. Alright, then I told you about mode of operation. See, the extract that I'm talking to you about now is taken from the 47th Law Commission report. It's a huge report. It is exclusively on the sentencing policy, the punishment policy that is there for socioeconomic offenses. Right? This is exclusive report on that, and as and when we move, we do specific law. So whatever report or whatever law, whatever committee is there, we'll study about that. Alright. Class, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, we talk about mental elements. Now, mental element, that these acts are deliberately not for causing harm, but deliberately causing for profiteering, right? Okay, then very important difference is it does not harm an individual per se, but it harms the society at large or economy at large. Now let's come to a new topic for today, which says reasons for emergence of socio-economic offences. So what is the genesis, or where do we trace the origin of socio-economic offences? See, first reason that we saw the evolution of socio-economic offences was because of industrial revolution. See, earlier, by and large, the world economy was agricultural economy. Now, when industrial revolution started, with industrial revolution, we had factories, industries setting up, and then there's workers were coming, goods that are being manufactured. Now, when goods are being manufactured, what do you have to do? You have and sell your goods in the market. Now, when you have to sell your goods in the market, you always try that my goods should be sold more than my competitors. So the sense of competitiveness comes. So whenever competitiveness comes, first of all, there are 2-3 elements to it. First element to it is that we talk about industrialization or industries. First, the basic principle of economics is the whole purpose of setting up an industry or the whole purpose of doing any business is what? Earning profit. So the whole focus of an industry would be at earning profit. So what he would like to do? He would like to reduce his input and maximize his output, right? So अगर मुझे 1 लीटर दूध मिलता है 30 rupees का, I would process it somehow. आपने देखा होगा what will a simple दूध will also do? He will mix water in the milk, right? And then he will make 1 liter का 1.5 liter. So he's also what he's doing, profiteering. But what for the purpose of profiteering? What is he doing? He is deteriorating the quality of the products that are being given to you, right? So that was one aspect of industrialization that tried to maximize the profit. For that purpose, you are deteriorating on the quality. So you are indulging into corrupt practices. You are indulging into unfair practices for the purpose of maximizing your profit. Second is competition. Now, competition because you want your goods to sell better than others. So what you do is you have to reduce your prices. Now, if you reduce your prices, आप अपने लिए नुकसान तो नहीं करोगे. You will not suffer loss. So you will again compromise on the quality of goods. Second thing, what you can do, let's say it is a government contract that you need to acquire. So what are you going to do? If you want a government contract, so you are going to bribe the public officials. So that the contract should come to you and not to someone else. So that is how this whole feeling of competitiveness and the whole feeling of getting more profit, that led to the white-collar crimes that are being done, right? Now, second reason which has been attributed to the coming of this white-collar crime is World War II. After World War II, things changed a lot. If you have been a student of history, you would realize that earlier Britain was a superpower and was ruling the world as such. After World War II, there was a setback that Britain suffered, and US became the largest producer of food, especially maize and wheat. They were growing, and they became the world supply, and that's how US actually became a superpower also. So after First World War, Second World War. So see, these are the reasons how and the war war goods were manufactured to a great extent. Now, if you realize, even terrorism, why is it organized crime? Why is terrorism thriving? It is not thriving because there is a Hindu-Muslim conflict or there is a bad thing and all that. That is something which is just on a very superficial level. If you look at the real genesis of terrorism, that lies in money. It's all about profiteering. There are huge companies who are making a lot of weapons. If there are no wars, if there is no terrorism, what do they do with these weapons? Who's going to buy these weapons? We're going to buy weapons only when there's a war. So there's profit and they're very powerful people. So their interest basically lies in the fact that there should be no peace in the world and there should be some kind of tension which should go on so that we can supply weapons regularly. There's regular need of missiles, and India's also spent crores and crores of rupees to buy these, fighter jets and all that. Right? So that's again one reason why we have these socio-economic offenses, because it is all about money. Okay. That basically reminds me of a statement from, I think it was Jerry Maguire, Tom Cruise movie where there's a person who keeps on saying, show me the money, show me the money. So, have you seen that movie? No one has seen that movie?
Yes, ma'am.
So you remember, show me the money, that's the face. Okay.
Yes.
Now, yes, okay. Now, another reason which has been given in the Law Commission report regarding why socio-economic offences started was expansion of business, that I have told you. For expansion of business, there comes competition. When there is competition, you do everything possible under the sun to succeed. Right? So that includes corruption, bribing the official, that includes unfair practices, that includes having monopoly. Now, in fact, I was reading a newspaper report, I think 3-4 days back, which says India now practically belongs to Ambani and Adani, because Ambani, and I'm sure you must have read reports also, the kind of growth that Ambani has seen and the kind of downfall India has seen. And also Adani is having the maintenance contract of 6 of the airports. Now, I think the Mumbai airport is also going to go to Adani only. So that's they're kind of creating monopoly. Ambani is creating monopoly in telecom business, and Adani in airport business. Okay. Now, next important factor for emergence of socio-economic offences is technology. Now, how technology? We have cyber frauds. We have the kind of especially economic crimes that are done largely through the use of technology. With the advancement in technology, it has become easier and it has become more organized for them to commit crimes, such as firstly economic crimes. Then another reason which has been given down for this emergence of socio-economic offences is lack of morals. Now that is the kind of sociological reason that has been given, that generally if we see from the generation of our grandfather to father to us, the moral values, the moral conduct of the society at large is deteriorating. Earlier, corruption was considered to be bad. Now corruption is part and parcel of the, working culture. So it has become very accepted norm. So it is, okay. Gupteshwar, I could not understand the context. Please explain. Gupteshwar, you have left a message. Please, would you like to explain that? Gupteshwar Shah, can you hear me? This is a place in Jharkhand, I understand, but in what context have you written it? आप बताना चाहेंगे? बोल के बता दीजिए.
मैम यहाँ पे फ्रॉड्स होते हैं बहुत ज्यादा. Scams, ma'am, banking के scams होते हैं.
हाँ, banking scams. Yes.
This is the main spot of banking scams.
Okay, that I didn't know. Okay,
Yes,
good.
And basically
All right.
they are all involved in these banking scams.
Okay.
There is also a Netflix movie based on this.
All right. Good information.
Ma'am,
Thank you.
Ma'am, this is a place in Jharkhand from where lots of economic offences like fraud, banking frauds, and everything is happening. And I mean, you might have also got a call from these people. They ask for credit, your bank account details and everything. In the
that you always because we've been getting these calls for like 2-3 years, especially. Every time a call will.
But ma'am,
yes.
there is a specific place in Jharkhand from where this industry is going on, and lots of technocrat people are there, And not only technocrats, illiterate people are there also, and they are making huge sums of money by doing this socio-economic offences.
Oh, that's
And there are videos and audios in YouTube available from in which they are saying why they are committing these kind of crimes. I mean, people are asking why you people are doing this when they are caught, and they say they are explaining why they are committing these kind of crimes.
These videos I've come across on WhatsApp. These videos I have heard on WhatsApp. But good.
And there is a web series on, I think on Netflix called Jamtara about this episode, how they commit this socio-economic crime, how they call and how they get money.
Okay. Good told. Good information. All right. Now, moving forward, another reason for emergence of socio-economic offences is also laissez-faire. Now, laissez-faire is what? What is laissez-faire? I'm sure you know.
Ma'am, laissez-faire is a state where government provides everything to the
Free
needy
market.
people.
No.
Completely free markets.
Free market, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
There's no
So
government in anything.
The government doesn't interfere. Government
Free
doesn't
market.
provide anything.
Capitalistic market, man. Capitalistic market.
Yes. All of you are absolutely correct. Laissez-faire basically means free market economy, where the control of government in these business transactions is nil or to the minimum, right? Because of this, it has led to a lot of economic crimes and also social crimes being committed. So now there is a reconsideration that it has been realized over the years that free economy is good, but then it leads to a lot of evils which we do not want in a society. So there are steps where the government should not give absolutely free hand to businessmen, but some kind of restraints or some kind of control should be there. But you are grown up enough to realize that what is there on papers and what actually happens in reality is there are poles apart. So whatever is given on papers, we know that India is in some businesses moving towards monopoly. There are so many unfair trade practices that are happening right under the nose of the government, and they're not interfering in it. Right. Now let us kind of look at the acts that we are going to cover while we do this course. So we are going to look at Immoral Traffic Act. Now, Immoral Traffic Act basically would deal with trafficking, human trafficking. What are the international conventions that are there? We have a specific act which has been enacted. We are going to do that in detail. They will talk about the NDPS, now Narcotic Drugs and Psychopathic Substances Act of 1985. It deals with drugs. And also just talk about a social position. I hope you would agree with me that we normally associate some kind of crime, some races or some specific people. For example, if I take a illustration of US, now whom do you associate drug peddling and such offences with? Tell me.
Negroes.
Yes. So the African Americans would be the people who would be, let's not use the derogatory term. I know you don't mean it, but then let's not avoid using such terms. So African Americans or the blacks would be the ones who would be associated. So is it a reality that every black is, sorry, you want to say something?
Then I want to say something, ma'am. African and Mexican people.
Yes, African.
Ma'am, maximum are in more numbers than African.
Yes, because Mexico has a very bad state of economy. Although it's a neighbor of US, but it is in a really bad state of when it comes to economic terms. So there are a lot of crimes that are done. Trump, in fact, promised that wall which never came up. Okay, let's come back to this. So what I was saying is that when we talk about drugs, so there is a kind of taboo which has been created that normally you would associate an African American or a black person with drug peddling, which is not always true in the sense that not all blacks are criminals and not all whites are saints, right? But it's kind of a social taboo which has been done, and it also comes in bite you. I'm sure you must have seen in the news every day. There's some of the other news which comes regarding the treatment that I think Kalki news with when a black was being arrested and he was a hood was put on his face, so he died of suffocation, right? You've read that news?
Day before yesterday.
Day before yesterday, okay. I read it yesterday, so maybe day before yesterday, Kata. Alright. So many other things that keep on happening. So this is a kind of taboo. In India also, when I visited Tihar, when I went on a project and I was visiting Tihar jail, I actually found a lot of African Americans that were in Tihar jail, and the only charge, if we combine them as a group, the charge that was leveled against them was drug peddling. So that's kind of a social, that's fine, but then it's a social taboo which is also being created. Okay, let's come to the other act that we'll be looking at. That would be Food Safety and Standards Act of 2006. That would cover the adulteration in food and also in medicines. Then we have Prevention of Corruption Act. Now, Prevention of Corruption Act के ऊपर तो हमारी पूरी committee भी थी, and it has given a lot of recommendation. We'll do that committee in detail, most probably in the next class. I'll try to do the 47th Law Commission report and this committee report. Then we have Prevention of Money Laundering Act. So these are the acts which we are going to cover in detail. So for I think 2 or 3 more classes, we'll have the first unit, and then we're going to start with this thing, right? Now just hang on, let me take your attendance. Don't leave. Class, please don't leave. Otherwise I'll miss on your attendance. Remove the earphone, the word started coming. Okay, fine. So what we're going to do is, we're going to start with a quick recap of whatever we have done in the last class. Now, in class, I remember giving you just a brief intro about the subject, and I told you about the kinds of crime that we have. So what are the 2 major kinds of crimes that we have? Please somebody tell me, write in the chat box. 2 broad categories of crime. Yes, very good. Vishali Yadav and, okay, they've written. We have conventional crime and we have non-conventional crime. Now, what are these conventional crimes? Conventional crimes are the crimes which are, which we generally regard as crime. For example, when we talk about theft, when we talk about murder, we talk about grievous hurt. These are the kind of conventional crime where you're basically causing damage to somebody's body or somebody's property, and that is more or less of a one-on-one interaction where one person is causing damage to other, right? However, when we talk about non-conventional crimes are those which are on a larger scale, where only one person is affected, the entire society at large or the entire economy of the country at large is affected by it. Now, another distinction, okay, can't you hear me? Because all of you can't hear me, or only Fateh can't hear?
No, we can hear you.
Ma'am, we can hear you, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. Fateh Kumar, please adjust your placing. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So what I was saying is that we talk about non-conventional crime, it would include the kind of crimes where the damage is not caused to one particular individual as such or a group of individuals, but it affects the economy or the society at large. So it affects the society's health, or society's moral values, or it affects the economy of a country or a state, right? Now, we have also done what are the kind of crimes that come in non-conventional crime. When we talk about the kind of crimes that are covered, we talked about socio-economic offenses, then we talked about white-collar crimes, then we also talked about organized crime. Now, I have explained to you the difference between white-collar crimes and socio-economic crimes. Now, Please tell me which one is broader. Socioeconomic offences is broader or white collar crimes is broader?
Socioeconomic
Yes.
offenses.
Yes. Socioeconomic is broader. Right? You remember telling me that every